And how many fights did you have roughly before you got to the final?
I think I had about 5 or 6. Back then I wasn't seeded until you got to the quarterfinals, so I got seeded number 2. But I'm happy I went through the proper procedures of the Midlands and stuff like that.
It's a lot more busy because if you're seeded, you sit back.
The thing is, I think I won it the proper way, going through your area and things like that. If I got seeded number 1 and didn't go through it, people go, oh, you got handed it in. I went in there.
And you earned it, basically.
Yeah, I was a GB boxer, but I still went the right way and won the championship the right way. So I'm happy it planned out like that.
So we're at the Windmill Boxing Club HQ. It's another episode of the Punchline podcast, and it's all about Mike, body and soul. So today's esteemed guest is a talented youngster, national hero, I think it's fair to say, and he's also a local to the West Midlands area, so it's perfect to have this person here inspiring the youth. So without further ado, I want him to introduce himself.
Well, if not most of you don't know, I'm Ben Whittaker, Team GB boxer, 81 kilo, third in the world, number 1 in Europe, and hopefully a lot more to come. That's just a little part of the game right now.
Okay, so we'll start with, you talked about being number 1 in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So talk us through your journey. How did you get to that status?
It's one of those ones. It's like a mountain. It's just up and down. You never get there easily. I started boxing when I was about 7. I hated the sport, if I'm honest. I didn't really like it. But my dad took me down the gym for a bit of discipline because I was running wild at school, being naughty at school, getting in trouble and so on. So he took me down. I had my first little spar and I didn't really like it. I didn't like getting hit. But he just continued making me go. Then he took me down to my godfather's gym, Joby Clayton. But at the time I was training at my the gym I was fighting at was Waldensborough, Steve O'Rourke's gym. So I went 16, I was working at JD and walking out the Wolves. I got sacked from there, from both jobs.
What were you doing at the Wolves?
I was a steward.
Were you playing for Wolves?
Nah, I wish I was. I wouldn't be boxing now.
I don't think they would have sacked it because they're not very good, are they?
No, I was a steward there.
Okay.
And for me, it was too cold, man, and the football was rubbish. I'm not really into football like that. And back then, it was in League One. So the football was boring. So I thought, you know what, sack this. I'm going to go and hide in the toilet and eat some food. Got caught by my manager and I got sacked.
Okay.
And at the time, I was just kind of like getting into the England squad and so on. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to knuckle down now and see where this boxing can really take me. Fast forward now to 18. Just got into the England, Great Britain squad. But I entered the seniors. So for me, if I won that, I know I've rubber stamped my spot there. When I won the seniors in my first senior fights, won that pretty easy. Then the next thing you know, I'm one of the front runners for GB. So it's never like one of those stories where you go, oh, I just got there from not doing nothing. It was hard work.
Long journey, yeah.
That's it, man, because if it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't be where I am now, really, because before school, he'd wake me up in the morning, make me go for a run or go swimming. If I wanted to mess around with my mates or play my PlayStation, things like that, they'd say, nah, man, you go into the gym. And looking back at it now, it's got me where I am now, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing that because I hated the sport. But no, I fell in love with it.
So going back to, you talked about the championships. What was your journey or your plan for the championships? Did you know who your opponents were? Did you go in at 81 category? Or?
The Europeans?
No, the nationals here.
The nationals, yeah. I went in at 75 kilo. That's my first one. It was one of those ones. My home coach kind of said, I don't want you to go in them because you've only just turned senior. You've not had any senior fights. And you might get hurt at that level. And in my head, I know I've been around all gyms in the country and I've sparred senior since I was about 15. So I know I could hold my own. Obviously, the head guard's coming off. But when I used to go to my godfather's gym, he used to make me spar with no head guards and stuff on. So when I was about 12, 13, so I was just used to it. It was easy without the head guard, to be honest. So I went in there just to prove a lot of doubters wrong. Went in there, the first fight, down at, where was it now? Small, it was in Digbeth somewhere.
Small, Irish Centre.
Yeah, Irish Centre. It was there. We all got the draw. And I could feel it. People didn't want to draw me. Even though I was a kid, you could tell. And when the draw came in, I fought a lad from East Side and I was like, okay, I've sparred him, tricky kid, but I'll get the job done. And it was my first one by a head guard, so I felt a bit funny, but it was just one of those ones. As soon as I got that out the way, the ball started rolling then, and each fight just came easier and easier, and I was more confident in it.
And how many fights did you have roughly before you got to the final?
I think I had about 5 or 6, but then I wasn't seeded until you got to the quarterfinals, so I got seeded number 2. But I'm happy I went through the proper procedures of the Midlands and stuff like that.
It's a lot more busy because if you're seeded, you sit back.
The thing is, I think I won it the proper way, going through your area, then things like that. If I got seeded number 1 and didn't go through it, people go, oh, you got handed it in. I went in there.
You earned it, basically.
Yeah, I was a GB boxer, but I still went the right way and won the championship the right way. So I'm happy it planned out like that.
So a lot of people obviously want to get to the top level. So what's it like to be a GB boxer? What does it involve?
GB box, really, it's just being a normal boxer, but obviously the dedication. People look at me and think, oh, he's a GB boxer, this, that. I'm still the same as them, really. I've come from the same gyms as them. I'm a local lad. All the differences with me, I've put the hard work in. And when the opportunities came, I took them with both hands. I started pretty late in the national kind of things. I did 1 year as a schoolboy. Then I didn't go back into the nationals until I was a youth. And for some people on the squad, it's quite late because they've done all the schoolboys, all the juniors. But to me, I just did it at the right time. I wasn't ready as a schoolboy. I didn't take it serious. As a junior, I still kind of messed about. And then the youth, I kind of said, okay, it's my time now. Lost in the finals, my first youths. Then after that, I started winning them and I haven't looked back ever since, really. So
at GB camp, what do you have to live there? What goes down at GB camp?
So I'll be going there tomorrow. So you go down there. You get there for about 3 o'clock. You jump straight into sparring or bags. Depends if you're injured or your opponent's there to spar. Then after that, you go down to S&C, do all your S&C strength and conditioning. Then straight back to your house, shower up, go and get your shopping and all that. Get what you need for the week. Then Tuesday is when it really starts. You wake up at 7 in the morning, go and check your weight at the coach's house. 7:30, you're on the track. 12 o'clock, you're either doing pads or S&C, whichever group you're in. Then 3 to 4 o'clock, you're sparring. And that's every day till Thursday. Come home. And that's what makes champions. And some people come home and will rest and just chill out, mess around. But like the ones who are really at the top, you see they come home and they'll get extra sessions in. That's what I try and do. I never try and rest, really. You need your rest, but I rest when I really need to.
So listening to that, obviously the only thing that scares me, sounds like you got no time for food. When do you eat?
Hey, yo, people who know me on the squad, I'm only a light heavyweight, but I eat more than the super heavyweights, man. That's my major thing. I love food.
So you can burn it off.
Exactly. A lot of people think, you got to eat little to lose weight. For me, the more I eat, the more I can train harder. What's the point in eating two celery sticks and a piece of bread and you're going to spar 6 rounds, you got no energy in you? Where me, I'll eat a big, good meal before sparring. I know I can put a proper shift in that ring and I'll burn it off. And if not, just jump on the bike for an extra 5 minutes, 10 minutes just to burn it off.
Out of interest, what's your favourite food?
Was
there too many to list?
There's too many, but my favourite's Dixie chicken. Number 2, hash brown burger. That's my favourite, man. I tell everybody that. I think, that's nasty, but... And
have they got a Dixie up in Sheffield?
They got Dixies everywhere, man. They're global, they are, man. I'll try to keep away from them when I'm on camp. But yeah, that's my thing when I come home, man. Dixies.
Okay, so going back to when you were younger, you said that you used to get up to no good and stuff. What's the kind of things that you used to do that you think are up to no good?
He's one of those things on my dad's side. We've got kind of a mischievous side there, but like me, I was just like the classroom clown. You know what I mean? If everything was quiet in class, I had to say something. And you get in your little fights and so on. No one really knew I boxed. Funny story. There's a kid at my gym, the kid at my school, and he boxed for Plek. And he was one of them kids who'd tell everyone he boxed. But I didn't like it because if you came to school and lost a fight, they would clown you. So I just kept it nice and quiet. And I remember my first year as a schoolboy, we both went in, the schoolboys, and he won the Midlands and I lost. And ever since then, the school loved him up, always the next, this and that, and this and that. So I said, okay, ever since that day, it made me train hard because I thought the way they treated me that day kind of, annoyed me. But I got into so much trouble at school in the end, they kicked me out. And that was the turning point for me just to knuckle down and stick to it. Because one thing I say is everybody's not a classroom type of kid. I love PE. I excelled in PE and things like that. and the school didn't understand that. But it's just the way it goes sometimes.
So you said that you like sports. Is there any other sports growing up that you took part in or you were good at?
I did everything you could think of. Football, cricket. I was on the cricket team. I was on the football team. I was rubbish at football, but I tried my best. I went to my local Tipton areas. I was a sprinter. Everything you could think of, my dad and mum got me into.
And did you win everything?
I won everything, and if I didn't win everything, I tried to come back the next time. Sometimes sprint. I remember this is another one. I went sprinting and we had all the gear, no idea. You know what I mean? We just ran and tried our best. But there was a kid there with glasses on, this glasses, tracksuit bottoms, and this big baggy top. And I looked at my dad, and my dad looked at him and went like the head shake, saying, "If you don't beat him, just lower it." So we all lined up. 3, 2, 1, the gun went off, and this geezer
he could run.
Blew everybody. And I was like, nah, I obviously lost that race. And my dad just said, this ain't a sport for you. I said, for real? That kid, don't matter how hard you train, you're not beating that kid. So some people are just naturally gifted at things. And I think my calling was boxing. So when I touched the boxing ring, everything came nice and easy. I didn't have to think about it.
So I obviously follow your social media from time to time. And I know you've got a talent in music. So talk us through this talent.
Yeah, that's one of them things as well since a kid. If anyone knows me, I've loved my music. In my house, if I ain't playing music, my mom's playing music. Music's
you come from a musical family.
That's it, man. And if you see my boxing, my style's just a rhythm. I'm always in a rhythm. So since a kid at my school, my year 6 leaving assembly, I sang there, sang with my friends at school, and I just got into it. Boxing's one of them sports where it's 24/7. It's always on you. And I thought, you know what? Why not try and find a different avenue, which is not going to get me into trouble, and I can just express myself and have a bit of fun. It's just different hobby. And that's what I fell into, music. I got all the equipment at my house, do all my recording at my home. So I'm laughing, really.
So, in amateur boxing, obviously I've been around amateur boxing for a while. You don't get a lot of showboating traditionally. Traditionally, it's like a very regimented system, definitely. In, out, no time wasting, and you don't get to express yourself. But have you ever considered rapping your way to the ring?
Oh, that's going to happen. There's no doubt, man. Especially when I'm a pro, in amateurs, they wouldn't allow that because I'll be taking 10 minutes to go to the ring. But when I'm a pro, it's going to be different, man. I'm going to be flying around the arena, everything you can think of I'm doing. But like you said, amateur boxing is one of them sports where they really look down upon showboating. But I can't help it. I just go in there and do my thing and it just comes out of me. Like when we go abroad, we have sit-downs with the coaches. Say if I draw like Sweden now, we'll sit down, watch the lad, and they'll tell you game plans and do this, don't do this. For me, all they say is, please don't showboat and get yourself in trouble. And I say, I'll try my best, but I can't really help it.
But it just naturally comes out.
It naturally, I go out there, nice high guard, I'll throw a jab, hit him.
And that's it, you relax.
It's time to go now. So I start doing my side steps, looking at the crowd. But like, people think it's showboating. I'm doing it for a reason. It's throwing them off their game plan. And as soon as I do that, they lose their head.
I suppose that's your element. Once you're in your element, you perform the best.
It's rhythms. Yeah. Everybody's got their own rhythm and own game plan. And my game plan's just going in there and completely throwing them off their game. And as soon as I see they've come away from their game plan, the fight's won then.
Like something I used to watch with Muhammad Ali, like he was known for doing that. He'd talk to you while he's fighting you.
Exactly. Imagine a man hitting you all day. You can't hit him when he's talking to you. You might as well just take the gloves off there and then.
Yeah, and smiling at you, really getting under your skin.
Exactly.
Because boxing's obviously a macho, predominantly male-driven sport, and everybody needs to be a tough guy. And if you just turn up and start laughing at people when they're giving it their best, I suppose it's going to make them feel uncomfortable.
That's what my dad brought me up as. Anyone can hit and get hit, and come on then, if you hit me hard, I'll hit you harder. And to me, that's not boxing. That's just losing brain cells for no reason. Know what I mean? My dad's always taught me, and my coach Joby, hit and not get hit. You know what I mean? It don't matter what those people in the crowd are thinking. Oh, he's taking you can take a shot. When your brain cells are gone, they're going to look after you and things like that. You know what I mean? So you got to get in there, get the job done.
That makes you
come
safe.
Out pretty, man. My mom said if I go to the boxing gym, make sure you come out with your looks intact or she's going to go mad at my dad. So that's why I tried it. You can see a little nick there, but, that's just part of the game.
So you talked about when you went for the first senior bout, there was no head guards. So what's your preference? Head guard or no head guard? And what you got to say about it?
No head guard for me. A lot of people, even kids now coming up, they message me on Instagram and things. Oh, what's it like? Any tips? I just say go in there and do the same. obviously you've got nice big padded gloves. And if anything, if you do take a shot, for some reason, it don't hurt as much. It's in the head guards, it feels like it stays in there and rattles your head. Another thing is for boxers, if you box like me, you can see a lot of things in there. Head guards that restrict your vision. You can only see in this little circle here. When I box, I can see everything now. It's a lot better.
I suppose it's really
personal
warm.
preference.
It's really warm having a head guard on as well.
It's hot, mate.
Yeah.
Especially when you go to these like international places, you're using everybody's head guard. So if you're like a heavyweight and you're last, you're getting the wet, sweaty head guards.
Not really healthy, is it?
Exactly. So especially what's going on now, you can't be having that type of stuff. So it's a lot more healthy and cleaner. Obviously, you get the odd little cut, but it just depends what type of box you are.
So I'm going to ask you something a little bit different, a little bit fun now. If you could fight any boxer in the whole of the world throughout history, who would you want to go in the ring with and why?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Talk us through the fight as well, like if you would win or what do you expect to happen?
Obviously, a lot of people say this, but I'd like to fight Mayweather just because how he makes fights look so easy.
So he's not for the paycheck?
Oh, well, the paycheck's there. That's the first thing, you know what I mean? That's in the bank, but I just like to see how good he actually is. Obviously, he makes fights look so easy. And when you're watching, you say, you're the armchair fan, do this, do that. But top operators can't do it against him, so I'd like to see what's so good about him and try and break him down my way and see why he's that good.
Would you beat him?
I've got to believe myself. Yeah,
you got the plan.
You got the plan. I'm tall. Look how tall I am compared to, you know what I mean? He'd have to come to me. And that's one thing you never really see Mayweather do nowadays is come to people. He's always got them coming to him. So I'd try and make him come to me and fall onto my shots. But one thing's saying it, the other thing's doing it. So I'd like to see how that'd plan out.
Okay, so your favourite fighter, obviously that's a natural question for any boxer. But I know a lot of boxers have more than one favourite. And some boxers actually have favourites from other sports, like based on mindset. So talk us through who you like and why.
Well, favourite boxer for me, many don't know him, he's called Mario Kindling.
Yeah.
He fought Amir Khan in the Olympics.
He's an Olympic legend, isn't he?
Yeah, just for the simple fact back then, he was point scoring. And a lot of people hate on Amir Khan, but look, for me, look how young he was and look what he accomplished. I think that's real good. But the way Mario Kindling has dealt with him, because Amir Khan, even though his speed's amazing, but then he was a different level and he just slowed the fight down and played with him. And I thought since that day, I said, yeah, that's my favourite boxer.
The Cubans generally are known for pure skill, elegance.
They go in there, it's a salsa lesson, man. They just start
and they all
popping.
seem to enjoy it. They all have a grin on their face while they're boxing.
That's what you got to do. You got to go in there and enjoy it. If it becomes a job for you and you hate it, you can see them type of fighters, just, in the end, they'll give up. For them, it's just they're having fun. And that's what I say, that's for everybody. I remember back in the day, my dad would text me and say, go in there and have fun. And I used to be like, have fun. How can you have fun when someone's trying to come and take your head off? But now when I'm in that rhythm, you know what fun is. When you just find your rhythm and you'll have fun in there. So
do you believe that fighters can be naturally talented or do you have to really grind? Or is it a mix of the two?
It's a mix of the two, definitely, because if you looked in my gym when I was about 7, 12 and so on, I was nowhere near the talented one. And I wasn't even the hard working one. I was just there because my dad made me be there. But like, there's certain little things I did naturally that I didn't know. And I'm sure Joe will tell you, but there's a funny story. When I used to go to his gym, there's a kid there. Every session, he used to batter me, just completely batter me. And I used to cry because I wanted to do well. That's what used to annoy me. I wanted to do well, but I couldn't hit him. I used to cry. I said, come back to my dad and say, I don't want to go next week. I don't want to go. He said, where you going? And I said, on my days. And sometimes I'd walk in and say, oh, he's not here. Thank the Lord. Start putting my wraps on. Then he'd walk and I go, oh, my days. You know what I mean? So, but then eventually, even if I catched him a few times, he'd give me a bit of confidence. You know what I mean? So stuff like that. And then in the end, I thought, you know what? I don't want to feel like that again. I don't want to feel like that. So what I did was just work as hard as I can. If I'm not fit, make myself fit. If my reflexes are slow, make my reflexes faster. Watch fights, watch what they do, things like that. So it's for me, it's studying. I've always had a little nick of stuff, but it's just my mindset. My mindset changed and said, I never want to be that type of kid who's crying because I can't catch somebody, I can't do something. And that's what's changed for me. It's your mindset. Anyone can think they're talented and think they're fitter, but if you've got that mindset that you'll beat them, more than likely you'll beat them. That's why I always say Mayweather is one of the best because his mindset is a different level. It don't matter how skillful the other opponent is. He beats him with his mind first. So I think it's mind over everything sometimes.
So talking about going in the ring, obviously at GB, you're saying you do sparring on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So what's the kind of people, opposition that you have for your prep? Obviously, it's going to be top quality operators. Who have you sparred with? Who do you rate higher? Or who do you think that teaches you a lot more, you know?
Yeah, well, definitely when I got on the squad, I got on the squad when like, we were going down to camps when I was 69 kilos. So I've been sparring like loads of people. 69.
69 is like a busy weight class,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's busy. So I sparred the McCormacks, Chris Congo is a pro at 69. Then I moved up to 75 kilos, sparred Anthony Fowler, Troy Williamson.
So best of the best, basically.
Best of the best. And that was when I was just like 17, 16, round about them ages. And back in the day, I thought, I wonder what they're like. I got in there, I said, all right, it's not that bad, really. I'm holding my own, really. My main thing was confidence, like I said. I used to get in there and do stuff, and I'd be like, I shouldn't be doing this and that. Then I'd come back and tell my dad, I did this. And he'd be like, what are you surprised for? That's what you're supposed to go in there and do. And I've always had that kind of mindset. I said, okay. And as I know, I'm sparring the likes of Chev Clark. Even last week, I sparred Fraser Clark, who's a super heavyweight. So I'm mixing it with the best of the best. And if I can mix it with them, who's heavier than me, come back down to my own weight class, I'm laughing, really. The shots will feel like nothing.
So, the GB team is like a family.
It's like a family. Obviously, you have your own little groups and so on. But
good crack.
Yeah, when you get on there, you just got to find your little group and you're laughing, man, because you're on there for 4 years. When you sign that contract, you're on there for 4 years. So my team's pretty local though, man. I've got Galal Yafai, Birmingham, Solomon Dakers, Birmingham. Then I got Fraser Clark. We class him as Birmingham, but he's from Burton. But, he tries to class himself as one of us. And then we got Chev Clark, who's from London. So my group's nice, man, nice and small. We've all got the same mindset. That's what you need.
You
need
push each other all the time, yeah.
Like, obviously, we have our own little moments. I can't be bothered to get up in the morning. I can't be bothered. But we all know we're there for a reason, a purpose. And when you've got a good little team who's on the same mindset as you, we all bounce off each other's energy, so it's good.
So going on to this music side of yours, what's your aspirations with the music?
Yeah, a lot of people ask that. To me, it's just, like I said, it's a hobby. If something comes of it, I don't really mind. I'd take that offer. But my number one priority is boxing. I didn't start as a rapper. I just mixed that in. For me, it was more, I've done the rapping as it brings in different crowd and audience. Obviously, I put it on Grime Daily where there's a big audience there. And people just click on it and go, who's this kid? And they'll go, oh, let me go on his Instagram. They'll go, oh, he's a boxer. And then that's what I've done it as, really. It's just more audience for me and more, obviously, for the promoters, they can see, oh, he's got best of both worlds there.
So obviously you mentioned your own coach at GB. What's the coaching structure like? And who do you get on with the most? And what kind of training do you like or dislike? Who pushes you through your paces as a coach?
I remember when I first got on there and for the assessment process is like they've all got these big clipboards.
Yeah.
And like, obviously, the watch you run, the watch you do bags.
Is that where they give you a rag rating?
Kind of,
red, amber, green, gold.
Yeah, gold. And luckily enough, when mine came through, I got like 6 golds. I was gassed, and that's
just
quite
give you
good.
a platinum.
Shut up, man. But like when it came through, like the most nerve-wracking thing for a boxer up there is the sparring. Everyone knows if you come to an assessment, it's the sparring. You don't really box yourself. You feel like you have to impress them. And obviously, the known GB style is high guard, tight guard.
Textbook stuff, yeah.
That's it. And I came up there, hands down. I was in there just having a laugh, really spinning them off, looking what the coaches think. And I remember Bob Dylan just writ something. I went, shook his head, and I went, oh my days. And then I told my dad said, stop messing around, man. Go in there and do what you're supposed to do. You know what you're supposed to do. I said, yeah, say no more. So the next day I was there, tight as anything, just doing that crisp, typical GB jab, step back, backhand. And I had a little look and I was like, okay. And then it was a long process waiting for that that stage. Got the goals, the greens, stuff like that. I was like, okay, here we go. And when you get on there, it's kind of weird. You get kind of assigned coaches. They kind of jump onto you. So when I first got on there, it was Paul Wormsley. And he's funny. He's one of the funniest coaches on there.
So where's Paul from?
He's from Liverpool.
Okay, so Liverpool's got a big boxing community, a lot of talent,
big, exactly.
A lot of good clubs, good coaches, heritage.
He knows his stuff as well, man. He's been to all the Olympics you can think of. So when he latched onto me, I was like, okay, big coach likes me, this, that. And everything he teaches and everything he says is good and it works for everybody. Just for me, it didn't work as much. He liked a bit of a tight. As of now, he lets me loosen up and do things. But when I first got on, he just wanted me to be a bit more tighter. And for me, it didn't work. And I remember Rob switched my assigned coach for Lee Pullen and Dave Alloway. And I thought, oh, these are like the big time coaches. These are like the main coaches as well. So like they got me on and put me on the pads. And like Dave said, oh, no, it is. I like your flair. Not many coaches will like your flair because it is looked down upon. But no, what we'll do, we'll work on it. And that's what we've been doing ever since, just neatening up my showboating. They still let me do it, but they want me to do it for a reason, which I like. Well, when I first got on, it felt like they're trying to take that away and not let me be myself. Whereas as I know, they just add to it. They say, just be yourself in there. But if you're doing showboating, do it for a reason, which I like.
See, I watched a documentary about Usain Bolt, and apparently he didn't train very hard. And sometimes from a coaching point of view, you've got to let that person just be. And when they're in the comfort zone, they perform their best. And it ties back to what you said earlier about the mental. It's about having that mental focus. And to get that mental focus, you've got to be comfortable in your environment.
Definitely. When I first got on, I would tell the truth, I wasn't that comfortable. I thought, I don't know if I like this. And
it must be a lot of pressure because like the way you said, there's multiple coaches watching you.
There's so many.
Yeah.
And like, obviously, they all don't follow the same.
Yeah, everyone's got their own opinion.
Yeah, in the mind,
mindset,
they've got their own different mindsets. So when I first got on, obviously, I had this style and I was going to tournaments trying to box like this. I thought, this doesn't really work. And then I did well, won the tournament. Then on GB, there's different phases of GB. There's podium potential. Then there's podium, like Olympic squad, stuff like that. And after the first 2 months, I got straight moved up to podium. And that's every week. That's quite intense for me. And I didn't drive then. So I was like, I don't know.
So what was it, train missions?
Yeah, it was train. I said, I don't know if I like this. Got there. And like, obviously, I've just gone away from all my friends who I was with, like the Niall Farrells, Kieran McDonald. We've grew up as like junior youth and senior boxers. Then I've missed them and gone straight to the podium team. So I got there, my first camp. I was like, I don't know if I like this, man. Then Kieran knocked my door because their team came. Oh, Ben, how are you, man? You enjoying it? I said, I don't know if I like it, man. These podium kids are proper serious, man. They've got a different mindset to where we are. Us two was having a laugh, this, that. The kid opened the door. This kid called Cyrus, he was on the team for a while. You're right, boys, can you keep it down, please? Yeah, I'm trying to sleep for sparring. And I said, see what I mean? They're not like us, man, because we never used to sleep, man. We was bouncing off the walls. We was only kids, we was 18, where them was like 23, 24, 25. They was like serious about what they're doing. And ever since then, I said, I don't know if I like it. I spoke to my mom. My mom said, listen, obviously I don't like the fact that you box, but you've been in it that long. You need to stick to it now. So what I did was just get my head down, find what coaches I like, find what type of mates I liked, and it's worked for me now. So can't complain.
All right. So you talked about what you did at GB, and now we're going to ask you what's next. What's going on right now? What's next?
Well, I would have been at the Olympics now if it wasn't for this COVID, but it's just one of those things. It's a little step back.
So what is happening with that? Is it postponed? Is it going to be rescheduled? What's
Apparently,
happening?
it's going to be this time next year. So a whole year to wait, which is annoying. But
you get to grind and get to work on it.
Exactly. In my head, it's just another year to get better, stronger. The only thing is I'm missing out on fights. Usually you get about between 15 to 20 fights a year, where this year I've had no fights, which is annoying. But
is that the same for everyone, or is certain countries still operating?
Apparently some countries are still operating, like Belarus has got some tournaments going on over there. So I'm just waiting for the quarters to let me know when I can go. But it's just one of those things. I can get stronger from like doing my strength and conditioning. I can do pads and work on my craft. So just because certain things are happening don't mean you have to stop. Obviously, as soon as this lockdown came in, I was at home banging out press-ups, sit-ups, just finding my ways to get myself a little bit better. The 1%'s better than 0% in my eyes. So I thought, even if I can do 100 press-ups a day, my other opponents might not be doing that. So you just got to have that mindset to, do you want to get better?
And you know, as far as the training is concerned, obviously from a coach's point of view, I understand that road work is a must.
100%.
There's a lot of kids out there, the only running they do is running after the ice cream van. And then they wonder why they can't make the weight, or they're off weight on the day of the weigh-in for championships.
That was like me when I was a kid.
So tell us how important road work is.
Road work's one of the best things ever. It builds up your legs, builds up your stamina. And not only that, it builds up your mental strength. Another thing I keep saying. because I've been on some runs where I'm just like, oh, I want to slow down here, or should I take an easier route? But that's your mind playing tricks with you. If at home, set a plan, say I'm going to do 3 miles, try and get in a rough speed what you want to go and try and crack that goal. That's what I always say. But roll work's one of the best things. I'm a bit different. People say do it in the morning. But for me, I say as long as you get it done, you're getting it done. You can do it at whatever time. But obviously when I'm at GB, it's 7 in the morning. That's obviously a different
Who's your
routine.
running partner?
We run as a big group.
Okay.
Run as a big group. I'm a sprinter, I am.
When I used to run, I used to have a dog.
Okay,
and we used to go to, the dog never let me down.
I got my brother when I'm home, and he's just a different level. But I say to myself, if I can stay a few steps ahead of him, I'm doing well.
Okay. So obviously you just mentioned mental strength a lot in this discussion. Has there ever been a time where you've been down?
Definitely,
and how have you come out of that situation?
There's been a lot of times where I've lost like silly fights or things like that, or even like I've had injuries. Like I remember when I was getting ready for the Worlds, I had a real bad injury and I could only use one hand. No one knew except my team, my dad, Joby, and the GB team. Nobody knew. I went there and got a bronze medal. That was just because my mindset. I said, if I can't use my right hand or whatever, I'm just going to use my left to the best ability I can. And that's what happened. It's on your mind. If you have like people around you going, oh, it's okay. If your arm's hurting, you don't have to do it. You don't want them people around you, because then you'll start believing them and thinking like them. I've got people around me saying, listen, if that's not working, you use the other one. And that's what happened. So.
And you still got a bronze.
I still got a bronze. Obviously, in my head.
So the chances are, if you were 100%, you would have got gold.
Hopefully, that's the thing. You never know what could have happened, but I'm still proud with the bronze. At the day, I was gutted. I wanted to throw it away. I wanted the gold. And even now in my mind, I want the gold. But I know.
So have you boxed the winner before?
I've sparred him. When I go to Kazakhstan, we sparred him a lot. All I'm saying is, I sparred him this year just before the qualifiers, and I called my dad and said, listen, it's looking good. And this lockdown happened, but it's just one of those things. I know I'm up there. I'm top 3 in the world for a reason. I know I'm there or thereabouts. So I just got to tweak a few things.
So for me, obviously, you come across as a proper showman.
That's
and
it,
obviously, that's the kind of thing boxing fans want to watch. Yeah. They want to watch entertainment. Boxing, for me, is the biggest sport in the world.
Definitely.
And people who don't necessarily follow local talent or watch domestic bouts, the world championship bouts, like the heavyweight, recently Tyson, Fury, and the bronze bomber.
Yeah.
I find a lot of people have a buzz around it.
Yeah.
So for you, what's your ring name and what's your attire when you come out there? Oh. Ultimately, what will be your aim? What your ring walk? Talk us through it.
I'm coming out dripping. Now, I mean, there's some boxers, man, they're just nice and humble. I'm humble. If anyone speaks to you, a lot of people are saying that in Sheffield, this man Siming, I gave him an hour of my time just speaking to him, just like we are. And he says, you know what, your Instagram makes you come across as, I'm being honest, a bit of a dick. And I said, you know what? It does. But if you speak to me, I'm a completely different person. When I'm in that fighting zone, I can't roll up, the showman comes out of me. So back to the boxing now. When I come out, I'm coming out with bangers, my own bangers. I'm wrapping myself to the ring. I'm calling out everybody and anybody. And when it's fight time, I'm getting if I don't knock them out, I'm playing with them.
So when you walk out, obviously you have a team. Talk about the horsemen around you.
We got to come dripping, man. I want Gucci or Off-White only. And I mean, we got to come.
So that's one for Gucci to watch.
Hey, yo, we got to, man. We got to come out there good. I want my music. I want all my team coming with me. I don't want nobody or in the press conference,
Who's going to be your actual team that go out with you? Are you going to bring other talents with you? Or are you going to bring your family? I'm going to
bring some rappers, hopefully. But if not, I'll rap myself. I'm going to bring my boy, my best friend, Colton. He's always with me. He's my right-hand man.
He's a rapper?
Yeah, he's a rapper. Okay. So if I'm not rapping, he'll be rapping.
Give him a proper shout out. Go on, big up Colton.
I'm going to bring my dad. You know, he'll drop a 2-step for me. Joby's the serious one of the camp. He'll be quiet, you know what I mean? Just trying to get the job done. But me, I'm going to be going there. My ring will probably be 15 minutes if I'm honest. I'll be going around the whole arena, searching what, baddies are in the crowd. And then when we get in the ring, we get the job done, you know what I mean? See, you're either going to see a knockout or you're going to see Dancing with the Stars in there, see one or the other.
Yeah, so you're going to fully embrace it and enjoy it.
Hey, no, you only live this life once, so I don't see the point in living. Obviously, I'm serious. I'm very, very serious. But when in those type of things. You got to live it, man. I've always watched boxing and said, oh, man, if I'm walking, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. So when I've got the opportunity, I'm going to do that. So when I look back, I know I've lived it to the fullest. You know what I mean?
Okay, so let's fast forward now to about, I'm assuming you're very young, so I'm going to fast forward you 50 years. In 50 years, where do we see you?
You see me in Calabasas or Beverly Hills, you know, big mansion, every car can dream of. All my belts that I've won, and I'm multi-millionaire, hopefully.
Family?
Well, 50 years, I don't want to say, but I don't know if my mom and dad would be there 50 years plus, but...
What about getting married, having kids,
Yeah,
having your
hopefully.
own younger champions?
Hopefully. That's the one thing is, if my kid wants to box, obviously, he's doing it the right way. He's getting them feet work first. But hopefully I have two boys. I don't want no girls because, you know, girls are a bit tricky, man. You don't want them going out with boys and that. Then
Are you going to be one of them grumpy dads?
I'll be grumpy.
From Bad Boys.
For real, man. You know what I mean? You're trying to pick up my door. You get the fastest 1-2 in the game. So hopefully I get two boys, two boxers. And I just live a nice, comfortable life. You know what I mean? I don't do this. I'm doing all this grinding now. So hopefully I can live a better life. Everybody says they're not in the sport for money and this and that. But for me, it's a way out to get an easier life. So I'm just going to grind hard as I can now. So me, my brother, and whoever else is hopefully alive then can live the best life they can.
So putting you back in the time machine, let's go back to the 12-year-old. What would you do different? Learning on the job, learning on the journey, setbacks. What would you do different to make yourself one more step ahead of the game? Because it seems like you're a few steps ahead of the game already, but let's just put you another step ahead. What would you do different?
That's a really good question, actually, because one thing I say as a 12-year-old, I think I did it pretty well because I didn't really rush anything. Because I remember back then, there was kids who's won 7-time national champion, 12-time national champion, won everything, fought for England. I thought, man, I only fight on my home shows. No, man, I wish I was at that level. But I look now, where are they now? They kind of blew themselves out. That's one thing my dad said. He said, listen, you know, you might not be winning all that now, but you're at the right speed for your age, in my opinion. You don't want to rush it because you'll fall out of love with the sport. And that's one thing I've noticed. Is like my brother, he played football for Birmingham City, Aston Villa, all the teams you can think of, but he started that young and pushed himself that hard. He fell out of love with it. I fell in love with the right time. I fell in love when I was about 16 and it worked for me. But
like with boxing, freshness is a big thing as well. Like you said about injuries.
That's it.
I've seen people have a hard spar, especially the pros, and they just come out of there with injuries and instead of progressing the career.
You don't need, That's what I mean. Like when I was 12, I didn't really have that many fights. And like I've spoke to some kids, how many fights you had? Oh, this is my 49th. I said, 49th? This is my 6th fight? I was like, what's going on here? And they're just like, well, you know, I fight every week.
Sometimes it's quality over quantity.
That's it, man.
You can box the same lad every week, have a tear up.
That's it.
Then you step up to the next level.
Exactly.
And
you
just
get completely played with. Exactly. So the fights I had, that's what I've got to give thanks to my coach back in the day, Steve O'Rourke. He didn't fight me a lot, but at the time he fought the right fights for me. There probably wasn't the hardest fights, but there was quite easy, if I'm honest, but there was just challenging in the right.
It's about progress.
That's it. And it gave me confidence and it made me go, okay, I've won that. I want to fight again. Oh, I've won that. Okay. And it just went like that. If I kind of went in a fight where it's too hard for me and I lost, might have knocked my confidence and I wouldn't have fought. So I think I did everything at the right time. The only thing I would have liked to do is get a few more titles just to brag. No, just to brag as a kid, but I think I've done everything right, really.
Talking about titles, in amateur boxing, obviously there's different levels. There's a development championships, there's open championships, and yourself, you're like a podium athlete, GB athlete. Do you think there should be more incentives for amateur boxing?
100%. That's the best way you learn. You see a lot of kids jump straight into the program and they're learning on the job, where I think you should, if you jump in the program, you should be ready. So I think there should be a lot more avenues for amateurs. The Haringey box trip was really good for me. It was like a kind of an insight of an international tournament. They should do that more often, I think, for boxers, just to give them an insight of how it feels to make a weight 3 times a day. They're fighting all different opponents from around the world and they fight 3 times a day. I think it's good stuff like that. And like you said, they should keep the restrictions, the developments.
Keep it fair.
That's it, keep it fair, because you don't want to go into a fight where you're the development boxer who's had 3 fights and you're fighting a national champion who's had 200 fights. It's just completely unrealistic. So amateurs for learning, really, until you get to my stage where it's the best of
It's
the
about
best, really.
performance, yeah.
That's this performance
Results
and
and
the best of the
performance,
best.
yeah.
And if you slip, you're getting slept. But as like a grassroots boxer, or even like a 20-year-old walks in the gym, you should have a lot more opportunities to fight in tournaments and fight quite regularly just to get yourself more confident in the ring.
Let's go on to your passport. Where have you been? Or where haven't you been? Should we ask you? You've obviously traveled with the sport, and tell us highlights, the journeys.
There's highlights and there's some bad place. Okay, I'll tell you the baddest place I've ever been to.
Is that bad in good or bad?
No, like terrible. It was like, it made me think, why am I boxing? Why am I boxing?
Is that bad?
It was terrible. So I went to Uzbekistan. Beautiful country, beautiful people there, but it was just where we was living was horrible. So we got off the plane and we said, oh, it's not. So they've got a few shops in the airport, so it's not that bad. We came out of the airport, was like, whoa, this is a bit strange. And we carried on driving. I said, yeah, this is the city centre. We said, this is the city. I said, oh, I wonder where we're going then. I said, you're going at the top of the mountains. We said, oh, Lord. So we started driving. The road started getting more bumpy, got to the top. The first thing we did was do this on our phones. We said, oh, my God, there's no signal. We said, what's the Wi-Fi code, boss? No Wi-Fi. We said, what? No Wi-Fi. I said, oh, my days. Went into our rooms, no TVs, no nothing. And I said, all right.
Out of your comfort zone.
I said, this is real now. The beds, there was like spiders everywhere. Daddy long legs. I hate insects. But you know what? It just made us kind of thankful for what we've got at home. And you can kind of see why they're fighting so hard to make a better life for themselves.
They're hungry, yeah.
I really respected them. And like, no matter the little they've got so much respect for you. They're coming over, shake your hand. They're Olympic champions and they're coming over to you and seeing if you're
so obviously
okay.
they're churning out a lot of talent.
That's it. So for me, that was a kind of a point where I thought, what is this? But it was one of the best training camps I've ever been to because it was the best of the best sparring. I was sparring Olympic champions, WSB
You said it was on top of a mountain. Is that part of the altitude or?
It was, I don't know what it was, if I'm truthfully being honest. It probably was, but I was just trying to count down the days. I was like, how many days we got left? 13. I'm just going to go to sleep and wake up for the session. But like, it was good to see. It's like over here, everybody goes to school. Boxing was their school. You see 6-year-olds running up the mountain with weights in the hands. And we was just like, us at 6, we was waiting for Christmas and stuff. These brothers here was just running like it was the last day. So I really respected that and it was good to see. And it made me go back with the mindset. I said, that's how they're training. I need to be a step ahead because I know 24/7 they're boxing. If they're not boxing, they're watching boxing, which I liked. So I try and keep that in my mind. And the best place I've ever been to was Australia.
I thought you were going to say Birmingham.
Hey, but you know, I'm not going to lie. When I land in Heathrow, I can't wait to see, you know, the first thing I see is Star City. And as soon as I see that, I know I'm back home. I love it. And so there's nothing better than home. But abroad-wise, Australia was the best. It was just
beautiful place.
It was beautiful. Like the people was nice there. The weather was nice. I was still a bit scared of the spiders.
So obviously, recently there's a program, Australia Love Island, going on. So what kind of attention do you get from the ladies in Australia? Was it a distraction? It was a bit of a distraction. I can't lie. 'Cause at the time it was the Commonwealth Games. So when you're walking around with your team kits, they knew what you're there for. And I remember the first night I went there. Oh, we're just gonna leave it there. We're gonna leave it there. Next question. Home and Away is looking for anybody new. We've got a budding star right here.
Shut up, man.
So Australia, I've not heard of many big boxers come out of Australia, maybe because I've got a lack of knowledge. But I do remember one professional. Was it Katsidas?
Oh, yeah.
He was an absolute...
Yeah, that big tattoo on his back.
He had the gladiator helmet coming in.
Yeah. He was a beast.
But when you were there, did you meet any Australian boxers who had talent or up and coming? Or
that's it, yeah. That's like you said, they're not really known of. There's a boxer I know from New Zealand, obviously that kind of way. He's called Dave Whittaker, and he's 91 kilograms. He's one of the best boxers in the world, I would say, as an amateur. But he just doesn't get the recognition of his country and stuff like that.
Is that because the structure's no good, or?
I don't really know, if I'm really honest. It's probably like, I've been to world championships with him and everything, and he always gets the bad look of the draw or the bad look of the result, maybe because his country's so small. Like, he always gets bad decisions against Russia and that. And look how big Russia are. So But when he's a pro, he's a name to look out for, man. Over that side, they're starting to produce a lot of boxers because what they do is they'll bring in different influences. They'll bring like Cuban coaches over or Russian coaches over.
So they're working on it basically.
Yeah, so they're working and they're learning, and it looks like they're doing pretty well out there. So
I think also they're good at other sports like rugby and cricket.
Yeah,
and obviously beach
strong,
sports. They like beach sports. Their culture is a little bit more. The climate is pleasant and
100%.
beaches, and that's their lifestyle. So you mentioned the place you like and you don't like. So ultimately, you've told us where you're going to settle when you retire in 50 years' time.
Hopefully.
So we talked about the opportunities for grassroots level. Would you be interested in setting up a program, a tournament on your name for, let's say, kids who are juniors between 5 and 10 fights?
Yeah, that'd be
sick. Or 0 to 5 fights, just to give them a stepping stone.
100%, because I remember back in the day, I was like, I'd love to go in them tournaments, but I don't really want to be drawing these big names and embarrass myself. Where if they can go in the confidence and knowing it's a fair result for them to fight the same level, same better experience, it's fair then. And may the best person win. It'll be good. And hopefully, I'd like to get into that actually.
Obviously, you're going to have to find some time because it sounds like your training is so hard. You just about get time in to get the Dixie meals in. But
I am a very, very busy, but obviously when opportunities like that come up, I can obviously take the time out because it's good to give back. So,
all right. So what we do now on this podcast, we always wrap it up by asking the guests to give us the final words. It can be a sentence. It can be a single word. It can be a paragraph. It can be a facial expression. So whatever you want to drop for the people out there watching, inspiration. People already inspired by you because I follow you. As a coach, you inspire me and I wish you the best all the time. Always talk to your dad and ask how things are going. There's a lot of kids out there that want to be like you. I mean, you came to one of our shows in support as a guest.
I know, it was mad. You made me feel like a celebrity.
Yeah, but for the kids you are, and in hindsight, you are a celebrity. You're representing the country.
Very weird being like that because...
Yeah, but you're going to have to get used to it because, you know, signatures, photos, everything's going to happen.
I need to work on my signature actually because I remember I went to the Wolverhampton ground and I signed one kid's signature. Then he said, can I have one? I said, yeah. I did his. He goes, why is it different? I said, I don't know. I was trying to work on it, but it's just one of those things.
So the stage is yours.
So I'd say, this is what I always say, believe in God. Obviously, to me, it doesn't matter what God you believe in, just find God. And I've daily conversations with him. For me, I always talk to God before my fights and during training camps and when times get hard because he gives me the direction. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am. There's times where I thought, man, will I have enough money to do this? Will I be able to do this? But at the right times, God's opened up the doors for me, and now I'm on Team GB doing pretty well for myself. Believe in yourself's another thing. I've had teachers telling me I wouldn't amount to nothing. I've had friends laughing at me because I couldn't go to parties and things like that. You're not even that good at boxing, what are you doing? I said, okay, yeah, man. Now, everybody who was doubting me when I messaged me, so don't listen to them doubters. They're just hating on you because you're doing something different. And another thing, listen to your parents because they've got your complete best interest. There's times where my dad said, you ain't going to that party. And I said, man, you know what I mean? Why ain't you letting me go, man? I want to go with my friends. He goes, listen, I'm doing everything I can to make you better than I am. And those type of words stick with me. And I know when he's telling me a certain thing not to do or to do something, he's saying it for my best interest. So God, yourself and your parents, believe in those three and you can't go wrong. That's B money out.